assault us. Please do not assault us. Please
do not assault us. Back away and stop assaulting the public.
You're assaulting me, officer. You are walking into us. You are walking into us.
Stop assaulting the public. Back away and stop assaulting the public.
Sorry, what's your name?
Back away and stop assaulting the public.
If you want us to leave the area, we will leave. But you guys have caused this trouble. You guys, we saw you assaulting her down there. You were grabbing her.
And she refused.
If you're asking us to leave the area, we will.
I've not asked you to do that.
Right.
What is the
you were
offence?
grabbing my friend.
Her tabard and her hat.
You were asking my friend.
Okay. You pushing police officers
no
out of the way
at all.
is an obstruct.
Absolutely no way.
Yes, it is.
It's all on camera. We've got you on camera. You've violated our rights.
Here all day.
You keep doing that.
Listen, you guys have caused the trouble today. We have done absolutely nothing wrong.
We've got this on camera. We've got you on camera.
431. We are leaving
DM
this area,
431.
Okay, I need her details.
No, you don't.
Area.
Yes, I do. It's an offence.
What offence?
Not to give me her details.
What offence?
Listen.
What's the crime?
Offence.
She is impersonating a police officer.
No offence.
There is no offence. There is no impersonation. That's an allegation. You have to make a proof of
You're not
that.
allowing me to speak.
No, we're not allowing you to speak because you're telling lies.
Yes, she is detained.
Why? Where is the law that has been broken?
Yeah, we've got a van to put them in, so let's just move.
Right, let's go.
No, she's not going. No, she's
Do not assault the public.
She's under arrest. She's been arrested by my colleague. So if you continue, then you will be arrested for obstruct. Yes.
Under what offence?
I don't need to keep explaining myself.
Under what offence? If you can't make, are you going to make an offence later to try and fit the circumstances? Because it's all on video.
Okay, I do not need to tell you the arrest that she has been arrested for.
Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 police constables to arrest one woman.
Trying to throw your weight around. To protect and serve. None of you are acting under your life today, not one single one of you.
We're here today outside Horsham Magistrates Court. We've got two of our friends who have been arrested for impersonating a police officer. I don't know if you've seen them in their uniforms, but they look more like fancy dress than they do police officers.
Davey and Jess are in court again, you know, for impersonating a police officer when they were clearly in fancy dress, as I am.
We were protesting, we had our big yellow boards and we were protesting about not etc.
Peaceful, nothing going wrong. It was raining, we were still under cover outside the shops, not blocking the entrance to the shops so people could still go in the shops.
There were two community officers that were trying to cause trouble with us, and eventually they did, but our people did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, after we'd been there a couple of hours or so, a couple more police turned up, and then one of them started questioning Davey and Jess.
Jess and Dave have been there the whole day with us, and the police have been liaising with us. They've been talking to Jess, talking to me, talking to Wayne, liaising with the whole public. No issues at all with the way Jess and Dave were dressed until the evening when they wanted us to disband. We weren't ready to disband. The inspector turned up and he ordered the officers to then arrest Jess and Dave.
But they literally, we knew it was going to happen because they were filming it. The police started filming it, if they were the police, because it makes you wonder. And then all of a sudden, from all different directions, all these people literally pounced on them. And the poor, it was awful.
A police van with 10 cops come the other way. They all got out and they then surrounded us. So there were 3 of us, plus Jess, and we were surrounded by 10 police.
It was just unnecessary and violent and just vile, just evil. They are evil.
But the police officers who had been there the whole day hadn't decided that they looked like police officers. They had just been happy to spend the day until the inspector turned up with his pips on his shoulder and he instructed them to arrest them. And that's when it all turned ugly.
And as an ex-officer myself, what I can say is that my understanding of the offence, really, it's more for the sort of bogus police officer that turns up at the front door of an elderly lady, gains access to the house, and perhaps his colleague burgles the upstairs of the premises, that kind of thing. I think this is really what the offence was designed for, not somebody in fancy dress in a crowd.
They know this is a kind of political issue. They need to win this case. He's just told us that. He said because of the ramifications of it if they don't. So they're going to be pulling out all the stops. He said they've got their best prosecutor that they've sent. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, bring it on, bring it on.
What happened inside the court then?
It's a farce. That's all I really can say. Their witnesses are awful. The two police officers ended up having to agree with the defence and admit, yeah, they're pretty much not looking like police officers the second we're talking to them. And then there was a community support, I don't know what she was, the woman that hands out fines for fag butts. And despite the fact she said, I was told they was peace officers, she still continued to say, but I thought they was with the police. I thought they was some special unit drafted in, she said. Seriously.
So,
what happened, Dave? David, sorry.
Right, so the magistrates decided we were guilty. I got a fine of £1,082 in total, which is inclusive of their costs, £650 costs. Jess got a total of about 800 and something, I can't remember the exact figure. So in total, just over £1,800.
Because it's all the business. You know, the court is not, as you think, for the public. It's a business, and what they are doing is charging everybody money. Now, it's quite simple for the police to do it because they got unlimited funds from our taxes, so they just do what they like.
The ones making the judgment are just basically a bunch of rich folk that go away going, oh, well, you know, from afar they look like police officers. Well, I can show you a security officer that from afar looks like a police officer, but they're not breaking the law, so we're not breaking the law.
There are police out there actually that are breaking the law, and we're aware of it, and yet the court system is ignoring this fact, and the management system within the police force is trying to ignore it as well.
It's politically motivated, this, because this could potentially, they're worried that, you know, it might fuck up their programming of their tyrannical foot soldiers, you know, because they're programmed to see an authority looking uniform and therefore instantly protect it. Well, of course, they don't want to do that with protesters. They want to pounce on them, stick the knee in, kneel on their neck, you know, get a few digs in, like they did with you, Willsey. You know, they want to do it with impunity. So we're looking to hold that whole system to account. So don't be too disheartened. Yeah, don't be disheartened. I'm still confident. I'm still positive and confident. We will beat them at the end of the day.
But we know the police aren't there for us these days. We know that they took their oath to serve and protect the public, and of course all they're doing is serving and protecting a corrupt corporation. That's how it is.
They're completely corrupt, aren't they? The lower courts are completely corrupt. It's really all down to a 50-50 as to what magistrates you get and what pompous sort of attitude they've got to our overall cause, really, because we all know that this was, you know, Operation Speckle, as we discovered, which is what the protest. The protest was given an operational name, Operation Speckle. So I think it's quite apparent, and it's like Wayne pointed out. They drafted in officers from Eastbourne, right, and other surrounding areas. So this was a full-blown operation. There's no doubt in my mind that they wanted to shut down this protest, and they used us as the tools to do that. And this will be what we bring up with the appeal. You know, it's quite clear that the one I had the interaction with, the litter police, that she had it in for me anyway, because I wouldn't acquiesce to her demands and told her to do one, essentially.
And in her testimony, even at that time, she testifies that she believed you was a police officer.
Yeah. Despite being told, despite reading and seeing our badge, which is quite clear, it's a huge badge. It says Peace Officers UK. It's got like angel wings on it. You know what I mean?
She also stated that she was told you were a peace officer.
Exactly, yeah, but she chose to ignore that. She chose to believe that we were still some kind of, you know, I mean, she's like some kind of special operation. She should sort of really answer to the fact that she was specifically told to stay clear of the protest, right? But she made the decision herself during an official police operation, right? Operation Speckle. She was told to keep her distance, but she chose not to keep her distance. She chose to come over and interact anyway. So she couldn't possibly have believed we were police. There was no, it wasn't possible. You know, how many police officers do you know of that smoke in public? It just doesn't happen.
To you that she was lying.
Oh, absolutely, 100%, and that's what we'll prove.
As an ex-policeman, what do you think about all of this?
It's a load of old nonsense, isn't it? And it's political. Simple as that, really. I mean, all of the points that David was making about the industries, the fancy dress industries, you know, PCSOs, community wardens, all these people who have a pseudo look of a police officer, it's going to affect all of those. This must stop at the next hearing.
There's many industries, many trades that will become illegal if they persist. You know, the security companies would have to change their uniforms. Boris Johnson wouldn't be able to dress up again in a police uniform. Do you know what I mean? In an actual police uniform or anything resembling an actual police uniform. So they've got to be very careful, because once they set legal precedents, it applies to everybody. Right? Which means it applies to their own as well. Politically speaking, we might not get a fair trial, but they've also got to be careful not to shoot themselves in the foot, because that's an awful lot of industry there, whether it be bailiffs, whether it be community support officers, whether it be fancy dress companies, kissograms, stripograms. Do you know what I mean? It's like
was the irony wasted on you in there, Dave? That sorry, David. That one of the people that were allowed in to be a spectator was in full fancy dress uniform as a police officer.
Exactly. Yes.
In front of the magistrate, in front of the police, in front of everyone in the court, and not a word was said.
Exactly. This is the thing, isn't it? It's like they realise, and obviously because we were part of a let's say we weren't part of a protest, let's say we were on our way to a party, for example, right? They would have thrown that out. Right, because it's the protest, you can clearly see that their issue is with what we were protesting about. Or if it was a loud protest, in other words, if we superglued ourselves to the M25 and said we're insulate Britain, you know, or if we go around, you know, Black Lives Matter or you know, LGBT rights, all that sort of stuff, then it's then, you know, we would have easily been thrown out. It would have easily been thrown out.
I noticed in court, Davey, that the prosecution lawyer mentioned at least 3 times the word anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
Now, I believe that had a bearing on the magistrate's opinion. There was no need for him to keep mentioning that the protest was, well, as he termed it, anti-vaxxers.
Yeah, exactly.
Where in reality, when you got up on the stand, you pointed out that it was pro-choice and pro-freedom.
Pro-choice, pro-freedom. I mean, being anti-vaccination, you know, it's like it's irrelevant. It's the fact, because you don't have to be anti-vaccination to be part of that protest. If you're appealing for your rights and your freedom to not have to wear a mask, or your freedom to choose what gets injected into your body, you know, if you want to queue up like a fucking pincushion, queue up for like a pincushion, you know. But they don't like the fact that it's obviously, I mean, although I say these are lay people, they're not like our sort of level. Do you know what I mean? These are very rich people who they've got so much money and time that they want to play judge. You know, so because they don't get paid a salary for being a magistrate. Yeah, it's a bunch of toffs wanting to play judge, really, judge, jury, and executioner. But you know, we'll get a real judge next time, and they will know the law. They will be able to distinguish between the two, and hopefully we can set some legal precedents that other people can forever call upon.
It's a travesty of justice. Absolutely terrible. I mean, I was sitting in there, and I don't have any knowledge of the law as such, but just, you know, common sense, the case should have been thrown out.
They were going home soon anyway, but they wanted aggro. They were like, right, you've had your day off, your day out, now go home, and we are going to cause trouble now, and we're going to, who can we pick on? We'll pick on those two.
They were out in the town centre, they were waking people up, red pilling, and the police didn't like that.
Because if we'd have got the result here today, it would have been irrelevant in all cases in the future, right? They wouldn't have been able to quote it as case law, right? Because it's only a magistrate's court. So in a proper law court, it can be precedents can be set then, and then everybody gets that freedom to do that. So that's what we'll be aiming for.
Fantastic, thank you very much, Davey.
The fight continues, and it's got to continue. This is the thing, it's like it's got to continue. You know, we're all noticing the reduction in, you know, since the restrictions that have been lifted. Do you know what I mean? We're all noticing how people are starting to sort of rest on their laurels and sit back and think, well, I'll pop up and do something more when the time comes, when if they announce another set of lockdowns. So by that point it's too late. You need to do something now. We all need to pull together now and unite and still keep fighting this agenda, because it hasn't gone away. The battlefield's not clear. They're hiding in the trenches and they're going to pop up at some point soon. We need to be ready for when they pop up. Don't wait until they're already there with a gun pointing at you. Do you know what I mean?
It's definitely opening up a can of worms. Like Dave said, if anyone's wearing a uniform that looks anything similar to a police officer, anyone could assume that they're a police officer. You don't actually have to say you're a police officer. It's opening up a can of worms.
It's insane. Like, they're trying to get us on all fronts. I mean, as everyone knows.
I think it gives us an opportunity to ask the police to arrest every security guard everywhere, because effectively from this outcome they're all impersonating police constables, and so we can get security guards removed from shopping malls, from vaccine centres, from McDonald's, from supermarkets, yeah, from literally everywhere, because they're all wearing this uniform.
I know just in my local area there are these local business wardens that go around with pretty much full police guard. We're going to call the police on them later. In the future,
we've got them in town, they're wardens.
Yep.
They're paid for by our council tax. They're not police. But that's a very good point. They're wardens.
Yep. Yeah. Let's call the police on them.
They got no police powers whatsoever.
If they want to open this can of worms, we will oblige.
What is the official comment of Twat Valley Police?
Twat Valley Police is that we need to arrest everyone in any sort of uniform whatsoever, even a postman's uniform. Just anything that slightly resembles any kind of state authority sort of thing. Just arrest anyone. Security guards at Poundland, Iceland's, just anyone. Just anyone picking up litter on the street, just arrest them. Garbage, sanitary officers, just all of them, just arrest them all. Because we can't be sure